Okay. First of all, I just want to say thank you, God. Every day is tough for me, but I have to be thankful. Because one thing is for sure, there's one thing worse than what I'm going through. And the thing is, these people don't know what's the worst thing I'm talking about. Well, they know what I'm talking about, but they don't understand that they're the worst in regard of. I would rather, thank God I never had to live life like them. And I'm able to see them for where they are. That's why I enjoy making videos. It's a way to be able to vocalize and express what's happening, and clearly for now at least be able to see things for what they are. It's getting harder though, because with time the way they've just kind of disoriented me is making it hard. But I like the respect, the way I view these people, it has been so diminished. Like, when I mean that, I just like I can't believe how they don't find it like embarrassing to act this way. Not that I'm saying they're embarrassed to torture me. Let them do that. This is part of the things. But the embarrassment is like, don't you feel embarrassed to act like a clown like this? I know a lot of the interaction I'm having is with people I cannot see because they're using the V2K technology. For example, this trash talking to me, they use very childlike people. Voice to skull is this. That's why I love making videos, because reality is just too much. And as much as they try to sound like this calm, serene individuals, they're just clowns that just wait for my brain to capture the things in this retarded way. I will never identify with it, and I'm so happy to make these videos. And when we see each other, I see them for the human low-life clowns, bottom feeders who work for pedophiles. The way my brain is restructured, that's exactly what this technology can do. But please, target individual, one thing I would say, do not identify with the brain that is being manipulated. This technology is altering your brain. These people are in here doing that to you for the sole purpose to change you into somebody you're not, and then try to make you accepting of these manipulations, this thought process. They are low life bottom feeders, and if you see them, you'll know like this shit is telling you who you are. I love these bottom feeders for making me feel so special and dignified, and I'll put that in their face 24/7 until I can't. Then when we see each other, please act accordingly, do your thing, and see if I'm subscribing to it. Remember that I'm saying that right now. V2K is this, right? What voice to skull is this technology this woman describes here, okay? It is this technology that this woman talks about here.
V2K, or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and
So you heard what V2K is. It's basically this device that somehow is able to project and pipe in voices into your brain. The interaction I'm hearing is coming from people who appear to sound like children or try to sound mistakeful. They create, when they interact with you, they try to sound certain ways. You know, have you seen somebody who's trying to create a character? Like when you watch a animation or a cartoon or some dubbed over thing, and you see this person supposed to sound like, I'm this man, like that's what they try to sound like. It's like them trying to sound certain way. The interaction is supposed to convince you of this manipulation. Me, I see them for the low life trash that do one thing. They are trying to disorient you and distort reality. They call it their reality. I love it when they do that. It's like, yes, you just validated me. Yes, you call it your reality because it's not reality. It's a distorted reality. Me, who is supposed to be accepting of this, sees you for the clown that you're supposed to be. You saw the name of this title, Dormant, You Like Girls. This is not the first time you've seen this title. I've made this title many times in different version. Let me just start saying this. I say you like girls, I get some kind of reaction even saying that. What's happening to me is I'm a target individual. What does it mean? What is a target individual? Well, I've finally understood, and I've understood it since 2020. That's what is happening to us is we're test subject. Since the 60s, even before perhaps, the Department of Defense has been working on technology to see how they can alter the mind. That was in the 60s, even before perhaps. And their job was to find ways to alter a mind. And they were able to do it. At this point, I am a test subject in a program where they're utilizing this cognitive technology that can alter your brain, completely alter you, changing you, making you think in different ways. But just like any test subjects, there's like a control setting, an area, an environment that's controlled, where there's people around you who, to make you accepting of these manipulations, are there to do these things, to disorient you, to confuse you, to gaslight you. Because gaslighting is about making somebody accept a false reality. Google what gaslighting is. It's literally distorting reality and make you accept a false reality. You're definitely like in an open air lab. So they do these manipulations. They use these retards as perps. Those are the people who are supposed to confuse you, disorient you into accepting these manipulations. They are clowns. Like for me, I don't know if they selected some of the most childlike people, but that's the case. It's like somebody who's just trying to sound like so cold-hearted when you know she's just a pathetic loser. And they tell you how you're dead trash. I'm like, oh gosh. Coming from trash, it really doesn't mean much. Now, I'm somebody who take pleasure to put that in their faces 24/7. To show how retarded they have to be. And I'm talking about these perps who want you to identify with it. It's like, oh my gosh, she's so... The gaslight failed. The facade failed. It's over. Matter of fact, I find pleasure in putting that in their face all the time. Which I know is going to come with a lot of pain for me. Because it's provoking to them. They're supposed to be like, oh my gosh, you made it. Oh, we mapped it with this. It's so embarrassing. Because here's the reality. What I'm talking about the ability to alter the mind, is something that they've been working on for a long time. And you have these perps who comes in like, no, this is our research, we're different. This is, and they shows themselves as like this sensible individual, or this worried parents, or this adventures, or this fierce femme fatale. When the truth is, this is what reality is, and I love to put that in their face, and I will do that as much as I can. As long as they do this, as long as I am able to do this, I will put that in their faces, because I want them to see themselves for the loser that they are. And no matter what's going to happen to me, you are a bottom feeder. And I'm talking about these perps. They gave me this empowerment feeling, which I will always put that in their fucking faces. And when I see them, I'm like, you fucking trash. Sorry, you trashing me. But you're fucking trash. Listen, when you have things like that I always put in their face, and this is old stuff too.
Since citizens being controlled by government-sanctioned experiments, is showing others telling the truth, or are claims absurd? Just another conspiracy theory that's impossible to prove. Maybe. But not if you listen to Nick Beckich.
I think there's some good evidence that Cheryl Welch and many of the other people I've spoken with have been victimized by this electromagnetic mind control experiments. The weapons of this century aren't bombs and bullets and ordnance, but electromagnetic energy targeting the human being, which is the greatest revolution in military affairs since gunpowder.
Beckich is an expert in government mind control. He is convinced the Pentagon has mastered a technology once thought to be science fiction. The ability to broadcast information directly into the human brain.
Our government began spending a lot of time looking at how to modify behaviors of human beings. Going back to the Korean War, in fact, in a publication, Low Intensity Conflict in Modern Technology, they have a chapter on electromagnetic weapon systems and being able to not just debilitate someone, but actually even to stimulate certain activities within the brain.
But how?
HARP is the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, which started as joint effort of the Air Force and Navy. This is a very large array or field of antennas based on Alaska radio frequency antennas.
HARP antennas transmit powerful radio signals into the upper atmosphere to study the effects on wireless communications. But Beckich says HARP can also be used for more sinister ends.
HARP has announced several other programs and campaigns, and there's two areas that I got very concerned about. One was weather modification applications. The other was the effect on human beings. If you can modulate a signal that the brain locks onto, recognizes, and begins to mirror or follow the frequency following response. The brain rhythms change, then it creates a chemical cascade within the brain, and the emotions change. And now the resolution gets finer and finer and finer. And it used to just be about triggering emotions. You can change people's brain chemistry pretty readily, change their emotional state pretty easily. But when you get down to the idea of thoughts and being able to manipulate those, that requires a different kind of sophistication.
Can we hear sounds?
Did you hear what it can do to the brain? Did you hear that they start working on that since the Korean War? So more than 50 years ago. And you understand what is happening. There is technology that can alter your mind, and they've been working on it for a long time. And it's used as a weapon system. So what's happening to me? It's happening to me, and I'm experiencing these experiences because I'm locked into this device that have captured my brain signals. To now, my brain is going to mimic whatever this device wants me, or whatever this device creates as a frequency. I experience the same frequency, meaning that I'm going to get the emotions and the reactions and even the thoughts process that is manipulated me to experience. And this is very sophisticated. Very. So you're no longer experiencing organic reactions. All reactions, all thoughts are being completely manipulated. For me, the date of that started on August 19, 2019. That's when I brain completely gone. Now, like I said, right now as I'm speaking about it, like I said, control environment with these perps who are trying to distort me and disorient me. They're trying to distort, disorient me, and say things to put me out of touch with reality. Right? So I'm aware that my brain since August 19, 2019 has not been the same, because since that day, I was hooked to this device. And since I've been hooked to this device, my reactions, my stimulations, whatever is no longer mine, they are being manipulated. I'm experiencing what they want me to experience. And you have these losers of human beings that are perps, whose job is to try to get you to accept these manipulations. Because this is what's happening that is supposed to torment you. Because what's happening now is your thought process is being manipulated and rewired. It is disgusting. But their job is to make you think that somehow this is not happening.
Programming techniques. You're rewiring their thought processes and brains. And so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare. Offensive, using neuro-linguistic programming techniques. You're rewiring their thought processes and brains.
They are rewiring our thought process with this technology. Matter of fact, if I go further, they're going to rewire to make me think in other ways. That's why I don't even want to go that far, because it talks about piping voices, which is the V2K. Once you popped in the voices, once you're locked into this device, your thought process are completely rewired, and it's like an offensive warfare going on information. Let me bring up.
And so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare.
Offensive information warfare. And they're using men and women and children to continuously develop this technology.
Hyper game theory. How do you, they want to see if they can manipulate people to do things that are irrational, but also walk them to their death. And so you can call it a eugenics program maybe. And they need to sample all cultures, language throughout the world to define the probability matrices of which tricks, techniques, deception works. So how do you control the brain? Most people...
Okay. So you are being rewired. The perps that are around you are supposed to disorient reality. They're supposed to gaslight you. They story and they start talking about how you're gonna be tortured, the worst, you're gonna be this. They're not saying that just to warn you at this moment. They just want you to start thinking about being tortured instead of how this man clearly say your brain is being rewired. Right? They try to make you think of other things. Via V2K with me, they just tell me how I'm gonna be tortured the worst, I'm gonna be this and that. To try to make you think that this man literally say your brain is being rewired. Meaning that you're no longer yourself, but your brain is being restructured. Because this trash are wanting you to accept these reactions as if it's natural. With me, it's been this disgusting reaction toward children that they forced me to have. The reason why the title is Dormant and You Like Girls is this. You've seen this thing with You Like Girls video that I've made. They have made me have this nasty reaction toward these little girls, little baby girls, little toddlers, little kids, little babies, girls especially. And when it started on August 19, 2019, I started noticing what they do toward little girls. They do this feeling and sensation that they say, no, that's something we mapped to you when you were kids, you know, when you were a kid, that's how you used to see little girls. And I realized, okay, that's what they do with these little girls. They start trying to make me think that you felt something like that when you were a kid. And so I remember when they did that to a boy, I was like, no, usually you guys do that to little girls, because that's when you start saying that. And they're like, oh, you like girls. They start twisting things around. And since there's like, oh, you said you like girls. Trash us. But another thing they've twisted before is, you know how you can say this thing here, and I didn't. It's that bad.
Have kids, right?
Maybe 3. How do you feel about kids?
I like kids. If I did have kids, I'd probably want about like 3 of them.
So you understand what he's trying to say here. He likes kids, but of course, at one point I was like this in this fashion. I was like, okay, I would like to have kids too. And they're like, oh, you like kids? Of course, they twisted in this pedophilia things. Oh, you like kids? That's how I started with the you like things. Oh, you like kids? Oh, so they twisted in the pedophilia thing, and then it became, oh, you like girls, huh? And that's how they start going with this nastiness, twisting things around. When they're the one making me experience these things toward these babies, little boys or little girls. When it's little girls, they're like, oh, no, that's why you felt when you were a kid. We mapped it. But the truth is, this is what they do. They can make you have these reactions, and it's disturbing. They can make you have the sensation that they want you to have, and is something that is hard to deal with. But you will experience what they want you to experience, because you are connected to this device that can make you feel whatever reaction
to interact with
that they want you to have.
the human nervous system. In order to remotely pick up on someone's neural network or EEG, and not only receive that and monitor it, but manipulate it and place it back into the victim to control their emotions or control their actions or bodily functions, for that matter. The other more recent term we have for that is EEG heterodyning or EEG cloning. The difference between EEG heterodyning and EEG cloning would be, let's say, me remotely receiving your EEG and then duplicating it and putting that in another person to give them your same thoughts or feelings or physical reactions. EEG heterodyning would be receiving your EEG, manipulating it to put it back inside your head to give us a desired physical reaction or emotional reaction.
So they make me think of some other things, just to disorient me. But these reactions, emotions, that's what they stimulate me early on. It's so nasty. They were making me think of like sexual things, and then try to transition to babies, and then it's like nasty. They play with your libido in these ways, but they can make you have these emotions, these stimulations that are meant to degrade you. It's so fun, so nasty. Earlier they did this thing toward the child of this like rappers, and they try to bring that up again, and then try to make me think of like sexual act with a woman, and then try to like this rewiring of my brain in these pedophilia ways. But they can make you have these nasty reactions. They can make you have this stimulation because you're hooked to this device that can control your emotions and your reactions. And then they rewire your thought process, causing this disturbing thoughts and rewiring it in the most disgusting in the disturbing ways, in pedophilia ways. So, like you remember what I said, how they're like, oh no, but you like girls. No, they would make me have this nasty sexual stimulation or reaction sensation that they're like, no, you felt like that when you were a kid. We mapped it to you as a child. That's your brain when you were a child. It's like, no, first of all, I'm not a child. I'm not a kid, and I have an adult brain. So for you to try to say that you're making my brain being the brain of mine when I was a child means that you're making me mentally handicapped. But that's not what they do. They do things that are degrading, disorienting. Unfortunately, you heard that this is a weapon system. Actually, let me just bring that up so you understand why they would do things like that. So this
Dosimetry Handbook, 1986, University of Utah, produced for the Air Force. It gives you the resonant frequencies for each vital organ so that you can send in a radio signal that will couple with the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, and cause it to malfunction so that you can degrade the performance of your adversary. The new weapon systems being developed today will attack the mind, the body, and our physiology on an energetic level. Not with bullets and bombs. It's a perfect Republican weapon. No offense to Republicans here, but you don't want to destroy the property. You have to rebuild it afterwards. This is a weapon systems of the 21st century. It's the very beginning of it in a lot of ways, but the research goes back over 50 years.
This is the 21st century weapon system. And you can attack the mind, the body, using these energetic weapons. And this is what's happening to me. My body is being destroyed, my organs are being destroyed, but my mind is being rewired and manipulated in this destructive way, in this breaking down way. And we are just used as these test subjects, as this man says here.
My guess that this person developed delusional disorder. This is a paranoid schizophrenia. But first of all, nobody develops paranoid schizophrenia in the 50s, in their 50s. This is, if you haven't developed it by 30, it's not. Then this technology exists. These nefarious programs exist. And it's hard to imagine for a person that why would you do something like this? But if you think about the new type of warfare,
Cognitive warfare.
exactly, it's a cognitive warfare. You don't have to kill people that you are fighting against. You can just degrade their brain. You can
You alter their minds.
alter their minds,
personalities.
and it's like Chinese torture. I mean,
It becomes this cognitive warfare where your mind is altered. You're being manipulated in this degrading way, and it's non-stop. It's non-stop. Like you say, chain torture, like as in like just bam, 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 just every day. Of disturbing thoughts and manipulations. They play with your libido, like this man says here. In these degrading ways.
They use these monarch style torture programs, like it's based on sex and trauma. So they're gonna traumatize you, they're gonna use your libido to get back at you,
and they can play with your sexual arousals, obviously, because you're hooked to this device that can control your emotion. And sexual reactions are things they used to play, they like to play with to break you down, because it is a cognitive warfare of some sort, and it's very disturbing.
This technology can be used to sexually manipulate the target.
This technology, obviously, if they can manipulate you, can sexually manipulate you. It can make you have sexual arousal.
The target feels sexual arousal.
And so they use that in a degrading way, because this is a cognitive warfare, in a sense that we're used as a test subject for these cognitive weapons. And they're trying to break you down, push you to your death, and slowly, just every day, doing manipulation and rewiring you. And they have these losers of human beings around you that try to gaslight you into accepting this manipulation. Whatever they need to do, they have no shame. When I mean no shame, it's like they don't care how stupid it's going to sound like. They don't care if you're aware that this is the manipulation. They will act accordingly because they're gaslighting you. And they know your brain is going down. So with time, okay, maybe today's not going the way to tomorrow. In 2 weeks, we'll try again. You'll see how his brain is so fucked up. And it becomes, like this man says, a lot of mind torture.
Able to impose any information on the brain of a person, presumably by some kind of waves, which in the mind take the form of voices, thoughts and images and imagination. In addition to this kind of implanting information that they need, they manipulate the psyche so that the information is written into your memory. Then by stimulating the certain regions in the brain, they can retrieve this information and present it as your own memory. This is the conclusion that can be made judging by the influence they have been making on me with their psychotronic weapons, for example artificial thoughts, imagination, and mental torture.
Mental torture. That's non-stop. And they really want you to accept these things. And they have the typical pedophilia things they do to people.
This is a common breakdown tactic of belief systems and the human will. In no-touch torture, the techniques are more psychologically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds, and vice versa.
It is dramatic. It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophiles. Like this disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they do it. I don't care. I don't know if it's through weapons. I don't know. I don't.
You understand?
Care.
So they do these things. They're very pedophilia centric, and in my mind, they try to bring up something else to distort and disorient me. Things that they try to confuse your brain all the time and make you accepting of this manipulation. Whatever they can change, memories are being just changed up and going away. But I'm gonna bring the reality that they do this pedophilia type of torture, and it's non-stop.
It's what is referred to as malodorance. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams and videos in my...
It is non-stop. They do the pedophilia type of torture. It is...
I often see highly disturbing pornographic images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos when I close my eyes.
Pedophilia type of torture. And it's non-stop. And it's consistent. And this is said by many target individuals, as you can see. This is a woman who has children, who also how to deal with this pedophilia type of tormenting, because they can play with the libido, and you know how they're gonna go with it.
I learned to talk back in my mind during the process when I was awakened, and I would say demeaning things that you pay for all of the years of torture that I've taken, and all you are going to hear is aggravation for every single second of my privacy that you have taken away from me and my family. And said this, the slaves began a program of perversion. First was with my dog. I am very playful with my pet, and suddenly one day that I was petting him, I felt strange, in the sense of a bird. I thought, this is strange, and then afterwards that strange sensation continued. Then in that moment I realized that was imposed, so I thought, look at this losers, don't know how to put me down, and they are doing this. So I told them that I know what you are trying to do, and I started laughing, and then I said again out loud, you'll never take my will, ASS. So just to show them that I meant what I said, I kept playing with my dog, and even though that attacks continue, I don't let them get me. Today they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use of people, better said young people, also children and homosexuals.
This programming perversion that they start aiming toward people, young people, homosexuals, and children. They've done the same thing for me. Whatever that's degrading to you, they will do it. And it's disgusting. But then they have these perps who try to confuse you and disorient you, make you think there's something else here going on. They are here mapping. This is anything but this massive government that's been doing that to people all around the world. And this is not only unique to me. They do the same tactic of this deceptions and trickeries on other target individual. Everything is systematic. Everything.
So they'll say we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all these stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis, that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this.
It's clear they have this system of trying to disorienting you and create these deceptive tactics so you can accept these manipulations. So for me, give me a second. I think they're hitting my pancreas, so I'm salivating a lot. And so they do this thing where they try to present themselves as like, no, we're doing our research, this and that. And for me, it's clear, obviously, I know myself, I know who I am. They do this pedophilia type of torture. It is what they do. Today, when I look at these little babies, this little girl especially, they make me have these stimulations, and they're like, now we mapped it to you. And in my memories right now, they're kind of even confusing me, saying like, oh no, you see, you like girls. No, you just twisted what I said. I said that you make me have this reaction toward these little girls, and then make me experience this thing where you make me think it's me when I was a kid. So when they were doing that to boys, like, no, usually you guys do that to girls. That's what, I said, oh, you like girls. And make me think that this is really what I said. But that's how they can play with your brain in every fashion. It's getting worse. But the reason why they say you like girls is because they first started using the you like kids, twisted in the pedophilia ways. And then when I was like, you do that toward little girls, this is where you do your thing. Not usually toward boys. Because when you do that to little girls, you make me think in this way. I was like, oh, you like girls. You like girls. You have no shame. I'm like, you piece of shit. Now, another way they try to make me accepting of this manipulation is based on what, as a child, I did as a kid, which they like to exaggerate, right? You hear them making all this noise campaign. You hear this noise campaign is supposed to make me feel nervous. Matter of fact, they're like, oh, this is live, is watching you, trash us. When I was a child, this is dumb thing to myself. This is an appropriate act of a child when I was 13, 14 years old, in 8th grade. For them, it's something they're gonna always use to make themselves feel like validation. It's like, to them, it's like, oh, this is perfect because we can say like, this is where, we mapped it to him as a child. He used her hand, tried to even exaggerate. When the truth is, I just did something to myself, but as a child of that age, that's a dumbness of a child of that age. Never did it again. It was an impulsive act of a child, 13, 14 years old. But for them, this is a great way to make me or to make it me subscribe to this manipulation today is saying that now it matters to your brain. Matter of fact, what they're saying, right, is it's dormant. I just heard a testimonial, not even a testimonial. I was listening to, I think, Joe Rogan, and he had a guest, and they were talking about their kids. They both have little girls, or girls. One has I gotta move that away because they're gonna try to stimulate me. One has a 4-year-old girl and a 7-year-old girl. And when they say 4, like, you pay now, you lose it. It's like trash ass. Because you're gonna hear what they do to 4-year-old girls, and even a 7-year-old girl. But they want to disorient me to not think about that, but think I'll pay for you to use her hand. Just to exaggerate what I did as a child, 13, 14-year-old. Joe Rogan apparently has older kids. The youngest is 14, and the oldest is 16, right? And so he starts saying, and they're both girls, he starts saying, I'm so thankful that I have girls, because first of all, if I have boys, I'll be in trouble, because I don't have, like, I know the kid will be in trouble, because he will probably end up being in jail, and I think, it'll be a troublemaker, right? And he said something like, I'm so glad I was able to have girls, because it brought something in me that I didn't know I had, like in the regard of love and whatnot, right? He's so proud, like he's so happy that he made the girls gave him like this love that he don't think he could have had if it was boys, right? And so what happened is he said something about a friend of his said, when you have girls or something like that, when you have like a dormant feeling that you didn't know you had, that just having girls bring out of you. This is how they twisted my brain. With me, they've been saying this reaction that I'm having today, that they're not manipulating me to experience, it was dormant all along. It was dormant. They're making me like shake right now. It's so weird. It was dormant all along. It was in me, but I didn't know. They just brought it up. You understand how stupid? You just heard what they do, right? You heard a clear pattern. That if you're gonna have girls, little girls, you will have that stimulation again. That you will have this stimulation that will force you to have. Right now I'm hearing purposely, it was you all along. It's so retarded. But that's their job. You clearly hear what they do, right? That they alter the mind, they rewire the brain, they do this pedophilia type of torture. Almost all target individuals are saying that. They send people like him right here. Losers of human being at this point. Now, whatever I'm going to experience, I'm going to experience it. They have perps that come in all shape or form. Very creepy looking people all around. It's like, nah, it's you all along. It's yeah, okay, it's me all along. And you don't do the pedophilia type of torture. You don't rewire the brain. It's me all along. I love to put that in their face. I love that I'm able to put that in their faces in a way that's so embarrassing. And they try to make me, and they have this thing when before it's like, oh, little girls, you feel like that. Like, now you're just rewiring me to make me have these nasty manipulations. And they try to have these battles in my brain where they've done these things already. But, before August 19, 2019, you felt like this versus boys, girls, you just twisted it into pedophilia things with the stimulation you make me have today. They're reconstructing my brain. And they say all along, this is our research, because if you were gonna have little girls, this dormant feeling was gonna come up, which is the pedophilia things they do to me. Remember what you did as a kid? Yes, that will come. It was all along as a trash ass. They're loser of human beings. Trash. And they truly want me to accept. These people clearly do the pedophilia type of torture. They clearly force you to have sexual stimulation toward children. They clearly rewire your brain. And by the way, these fuckers, this trash. Remember the 4-year-old and 7-year-old I was talking about? You hear the noise campaign? It's supposed to counter this.
I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic, and they used her to threaten the most torture in me as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions despite having a great day at school. Ow! And this was used to threaten me with severe sexual torture. One day I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls subtly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, ow. I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions.
You heard that, and it goes on. The mental battle that I'm having in my brain right now is just pure retardation. Some trash like you gonna scream for it, to talk about me as a kid. You heard a 7-year-old screaming in pain. It was screaming for some reason and crying when everything was okay. They do that to babies, infants. This trash are low life bottom feeders. And by the way, just give you an idea how long ago they've been working on this technology since.
In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. The project reportedly ended in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continues to this day.
Yes, DARPA has been working on this since, what, the 60s or so? Oh, and by the way, those same entities, right, in charge of this program, this is the end, the destruction of the facade. That's when the facade is completely destroyed.
Secrets, potentially making this. The Defense Department releasing brand new details into an investigation involving child pornography and dozens of its workers and contractors, some with top-level security clearance. Not only are these very serious accusations, but investigators say some of the people involved were handling the nation's most sensitive secrets, potentially making this a matter of national security. Chief Fox Report correspondent Jonathan Hunt with the news. Appalling story, Jonathan. Do we know more about these people and their security clearances?
Well, we don't know their exact job titles, John, but what we do know is that they did appear to be working, some of them at high levels, across a range of government agencies. Take a look at this, for instance, the National Security Agency, the National Reconnaissance Office, and the very secretive Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Others also...
That's DARPA. Let me just bring up some more stuff. This is a CNN article written in 2019.
The defense disgrace, and one we must fight head on, Spanberger said in a statement. According to child pornography watchdog Internet Crimes Against Children Child Online Protective Services, the Defense Department network consistently ranks in the top tier of Internet service providers for trafficking child pornography. It ranked 19th of nearly 3,000 networks surveyed in 2018.
me bring up some more stuff here just to show reality.
Targeted individuals.
Two officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees America's spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that is happening in the general evil?
Allie, we're told, and when I was put through recruitment into the intel community, you're put through polygraphs, you're put through a rigorous selection process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired, can I get a job? You're put through an extremely
top-level positions in these entities, or top-level security informations, not some regular people. These perps here are bottom feeders. When I call them bottom feeders, I mean they're just the bottom in this hierarchy.
Yeah, come under investigation for links to the proliferation of graphic material. Called Project Flicker, some 5,000 individuals have been identified as having subscriptions to child porn sites, including many DoD-affiliated persons. So this ongoing national investigation has now prompted the House to introduce a bipartisan bill that would help the DoD stop the use of its network to, quote, possess, procure, or produce child pornography. Joining us to discuss this, investigative journalist Ben Swan. So Ben, the Pentagon already takes measures to limit worker access to stuff like porn by rolling out what they call the Personal Electronic Device PED policy, where workers have to drop off their phones and lockers before entering their offices. All their online searches are accessible by security if or when needed. Their Wi-Fi access is monitored in digital security suites. So how is this happening?
Well, it's happening because even though there is a certain amount of limitation on access, those who are working in the Department of Defense, clearly it appears to be thousands of individuals in the Department of Defense, are finding ways around this, specifically by using the Department of Defense IP addresses and also apparently peer-to-peer sharing within the department's network. So this study that was done on this issue, and it is pretty horrifying, Manila, to consider this. It shows that the Department of Defense ranked 19th out of almost 3,000 networks in terms of peer-to-peer sharing of child pornography. That is absolutely incredible. This bill attempts to essentially say, look, we're not doing enough to stop it from coming in, but we're also not doing enough in the Department of Defense to go after those individuals. About saying Department of Defense computers are being misused to share, to spread, to access child pornography. And when you step in,
those are the entities in charge of this program, with this technology, and developing this technology. To have this information as a target individual, and you have this loser of human beings, perps, that we call these people who are supposed to create this control setting where they're disorienting you, distorting reality as much as they can, so you can accept this manipulation, which as I was playing that, they were making me think of these little kids, these little girls, and it's like, imagine that's your daughter, give me the stimulation. They'll even talk about Kanye's West daughter, because they've recreated in these different ways. It's just nasty. And now today I'm experiencing this new version of my thoughts, with the manipulation that they make me have, the stimulation they can make me have, which day in and day out, every day, they're breaking me down and rebuilding me in this way. They are depattering me and repowdering me in this fashion. And there's nothing I can do about it. And they have these perps around you that are going to do whatever they need to do to gaslight you, to make you accept of it. And they've done it since 2019. From the little babies to the older kids. And it's nasty. Oh, not even older kids, people who even could actually be young adults too. Like this. Just like that woman said, it's nasty. But you gotta be strong and you gotta be thankful. And I'm so thankful that I'm able to show this things and feel so special. Then look at the people around you doing everything possible to make you accepting of this, with all this going against them. Still try to present themselves in this fashion. They still think that, oh, because we're women, that's our research. And we're like, you're a clown ass trash. This trash ass with the psyops. Don't you have no shame? Don't you feel uncomfortable? I'm out here calling there's a bill created for how pedophilia centric you guys are. This technology that literally altered the brain. You torture even children. I have this information. When I see trash like you, and they send the most childlike people, I'm like, oh yeah, thank you for even sending them, because it makes it more obvious.
But I was going to be shot in the face, and it was an older guy. He was like really, really disgruntled and pissed off. Yeah, he should have shot in the face. You know, sound like an angry ass old person. You know, then a couple of days later, a female said the same thing. Oh, he shot in the face. You know, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is, with the voice of skull, it's a bunch of females. You know, and I'm like, bro, really? You're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female or sit back and allow this to go on? You really think they
have no shame? Yesterday, when you listen to the previous video about the issue of pedophilia and these DoD entities that only child porn using the DoD computers, the next door neighbor, who's a perp, did whatever possible to disorient me from it was because somebody was delivering something, right? He's a perp too, but I don't think they're used to the things that I listen to. They're not used to the consistent, because I live here, and every day while I'm here, they're gonna hear at least once the obviousness of who's the pedophiles, what they can do with this technology, and the consistency about and the trend that's been showing over and over in these entities. That there's a whole bill prompt because there's a bunch of pedophiles in these entities. So this guy come and deliver this stuff. He's a perp, I know that, but I want to make sure that the perps see themselves for what they are. This man is talking about the computers given to them by the DoD. He's down so much. They're down so much child porn using the DoD computers. This guy felt uncomfortable. I was like, yeah, that's what you're part of. That's the entities mapping. The guy, the perp that lives next door, he's trying to disorient this. He's like, no. He's just trying to, no. You gonna listen to that. Now they tell me I'm going, one thing I enjoy doing is putting that in their faces 24/7. To them, it's called provoking. It's like, no, I'm putting reality. I know your job is to escape reality. I'm not going to let you do that. To make me accepting of this, right? They come up with things like, oh, he's watching you. Because what they say, to add the cherry on top of that, they're going to frame me. Guess how they're going to frame me? They say they're going to have their children say that I raped them. If that's not another sign that these people are fucking bottom feeders working for pedophiles and governmental entities with problem issue with pedophilia. Imagine you have a child and you groom your child to say, hey, say that man raped you. Even if you hate that person, for you to do that to your child, it's just an indication of what kind of person they are. You would want to kill a person, you do that, but to make your child say that this man raped you? You know what kind of person you have to be? Trash. And that's how they tell me they're going to frame me. I was like, go ahead. Bless your child like that. Tell my target individuals stay strong and see this low life for what they are.